Welcome to reality. You're now on the Code of Mind channel. Since childhood, we have been conditioned to believe in one of the most massive illusions, that time is objective. We were told it is an invisible river that flows on its own, independent of us. The sun rises, the sun sets, and the hand on the clock moves relentlessly in a circle. We are used to relying on time as the hardest law of nature. But what if I told you that time does not exist, that it is not a law of the universe, but merely a superficial add-on to our interface? Over the last 100 years, advanced science has looked behind the scenes of reality so deeply that theoretical physicists' legs are still shaking. Today, not a single scientist in the world can give a clear definition of what time actually is. In the equations of quantum mechanics, which describe the structure of all existence, the variable t, time, simply does not exist. For the universe, there is no yesterday or tomorrow. There is only an eternal now. The world is not an object that ages. The world is a data rendering process. And time in this system is not a natural environment, but an artificial parameter. It is a bug in the matrix, implemented for one single purpose, not to measure your life, but to limit it. We have been locked in a cage of seconds and minutes so that we constantly feel lack, hurry, and the fear of not making it. We were made to believe our opportunities have an expiration date. But today I will present to you scientific facts for which Nobel Prizes were awarded. We will analyze data published in the most prestigious journals, proving that time is a variable that can and must be reconfigured. Einstein was the first to crack the code of this illusion, proving that time is not a constant. It does not flow the same for everyone. The faster you move through space or the stronger the gravity near you, the slower the clock ticks for you. This is not a theoretical abstraction. It is a physical fact we use every day. Take GPS satellites. Because of their high speed and weak gravity in orbit, time for them flows differently than on Earth's surface. Satellites are ahead of Earth time by 38 microseconds per day. If engineers did not correct for this quantum shift, navigation would be off by 10 kilometers within a single day. In a week, it would turn into useless digital junk. We are literally forced to tweak time in the matrix so that it doesn't glitch. Stephen Hawking went even further, calling time merely a direction in space. In his model of the universe, there is no mystical river of time. There is a fourth dimension, a vector just like length, width, or height. You can move left or right, and in the same way, you move along time. It is not an external force dragging you. It is just a coordinate inside the system. But the real death sentence for time was delivered by the modern physicist Carlo Rovelli. In his fundamental works, he states directly, "Time does not exist at the basic level of reality." When scientists write equations describing the behavior of the quantum world, the so-called theory of everything, the variable t disappears because it is unnecessary. At the level of atoms and elementary particles, the universe is a set of events and interactions, not a chronological chain. Time is not a natural law given from above. It is a parameter, an artificial setting of the interface in which we exist. It is a speed limiter, a variable in the simulation equation that someone intentionally installed into the source code of our world. Now imagine for a second that the time parameter was simply disabled in the code of our reality. This wouldn't mean death or chaos. It would mean that the external scale by which you are forced to measure yourself has been removed from the world's firmware. What would actually happen to you? A child would be born and develop exclusively according to their biological clock. Their growth and maturation would be dictated not by a calendar date, but by internal code and the body's readiness. Imagine life without a school bell at exactly 8:01 a.m. Without the artificial pressure of the deadline, you're already 30 and haven't achieved anything yet. Without that eternal gnawing sensation that you are late, that the sand in the glass is running out and you need to run faster just to stay in place. Science confirms that our internal rhythm is hostile to the external one. Studies show that if you isolate a person from all time signals, placing them in a space with no windows, no clocks, and no imposed schedule, their body shifts to a 25-hour cycle. We are not biologically programmed for the 24 hours imposed by the dial. Our natural rhythm is wider, freer, and deeper than the cage we've been locked in. Your biological clock is as unique as a fingerprint. Someone reaches their peak of awareness and strength at 40, while another is ready for achievement at 18. This is your individual maturation rhythm. But the system intentionally ignores your uniqueness. It sets a universal expiration date and forces you to fit into it. In the Matrix, time has been turned into a whip. You are forced to compete with an artificial hand, turning your life into an exhausting, endless race for phantom goals. You are not a number in a passport. You are a process with no deadline. Ask the main question: who benefits from you constantly feeling a lack of time? Time in the Matrix is not just a unit of measurement. It is a tool of subtle psychological manipulation. A person living outside the sense of a rigid deadline is dangerous to the system. They are too calm. Such a person thinks deeply, creates consciously, and most importantly, does not succumb to impulsive consumption. They won't run to buy anti-aging cream in a fit of existential panic or a new gadget just because the time for the old model has expired. Conversely, a person convinced they have little time left becomes extremely vulnerable. In a state of time deficit, your brain switches to survival mode. You start to hurry, make critical mistakes, and most importantly, agree to terms of work, loans, or relationships that you would never accept in a calm, timeless state. Total time lack is the perfect soil for slavery. In 1972, psychologist Philip Zimbardo described the concept of time perspective, a powerful mechanism through which the system manages the behavior of billions. By splitting your perception into 3 parts, the system robs you of your power. People focused on the past are paralyzed by chewing on old grievances and guilt. People focused on the future are consumed by anxiety over the unknown. The present is the only point where you possess real power and freedom. But look around. All advertising, all burning deadlines, and countdown timers are aimed at one thing: knocking you out of this point of balance. This is not a random marketing trick. It is the architecture of control. As long as your attention is smeared across an artificial timescale, you do not belong to yourself. You belong to whoever set that timer. However, this global firmware called time has critical bugs that prove the system is unstable. You have likely encountered the phenomenon of a time slip. Moments when hours of an exciting task flew by in minutes, or the seconds before a car accident stretched into eternity. These are not just games of imagination. These glitches are recorded in thousands of people in borderline states, under extreme stress, or in deep meditation. Neuroscientists at Stanford confirmed a revolutionary hunch. There is no single stopwatch in our brain that objectively counts time. The brain does not measure time, it constructs it, depending on your attention, dopamine levels, and information processing intensity. Your internal processor literally changes the rendering frequency of reality. When you are afraid or hyper-focused, the brain records data at a furious speed, and time slows down in your perception. When you are bored or on autopilot, the system skips frames, and entire days disappear. This means time is not an external stream you passively float in. Time is your personal internal render. You generate it in your head. The speed of time is subjective. It directly depends on how present you are in the here and now. This is the main secret that allows you to hack the matrix. If time is a product of your consciousness, you can reconfigure it. You are no longer a victim of the ticking clock on the wall. The moment you understand that you are the source of this rhythm, you take back the system's main lever of pressure. You decide the speed at which your life will be rendered. Time is not a fundamental law of nature, but a controllable simulation parameter, a limiter sewn into the code of our reality. Without this artificial add-on, you would grow and develop based exclusively on your unique internal code. Your life would be free of panic and the suffocating feeling that you are late for some imaginary train. In the Matrix, you are kept in a constant state of deficit, and lack is the most effective tool for controlling your mind. Remember, the only clock in this entire universe you truly need to trust is your biological clock. Everything else, clock hands, calendar dates, and social norms, is just the firmware of someone else's script. designed to make you a predictable and obedient element of the system. You are not late. You cannot be late in a world where time as an objective value does not exist. You simply haven't reset this imposed parameter to the factory settings of your true self yet. The moment you stop measuring your success by someone else's seconds, the matrix loses its power over you. Your awakening is the very bug that changes the entire system. Thank you for being with me on this channel. I wish you the best possible branch of reality. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Take care.